Hello lovely people, welcome back to this channel. In this video, we are witnessing something the world did not expect from one of the countries that they deem poor. Burkina Faso has just unveiled a $64 billion national development plan that many did not expect, and the sheer scale of it has taken almost everyone by surprise. This is one of the largest economic programs ever proposed anywhere in the Sahel region, and it has stunned economists, diplomats, and everyday citizens alike. This announcement shows that the country has made a dramatic break from that past. Be sure to stick with me till the very end, as I'll be explaining all the details you need to know. Kindly hit the like button as it helps spread the word. To understand why this plan feels so shocking, we have to look at where Burkina Faso stood just a few years ago. The nation had spent much of the past decade managing waves of displacement and relying heavily on external financing to keep basic government functions running. Then the shift came under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, who has pushed an agenda to build around sovereignty, self-reliance, and reduce dependence on outside powers, a direction that has increasingly defined the country's politics. One of the most consequential moves came in June of 2025, when the state nationalized 5 foreign-owned gold mining assets. And why it is so valuable is because gold is Burkina Faso's most valuable export, and with the global prices surging, the government suddenly found itself sitting on a far stronger revenue stream. Officials used part of the income to repay more than $2 billion in debt, cutting domestic debt by roughly a quarter and placing national finances on steadier footing. It was on this foundation that the government made its boldest move yet, a 5-year plan on a scale that the nation has never attempted before. And what exactly is in this proposal is a plan valued at just over 36 trillion CFA francs, averaging roughly 7,200 billion CFA francs in spending every year for 5 consecutive years. That dwarfs the country's previous development plan, valued at under 20 trillion CFA francs in total. The new plan rests on 4 central pillars. The first is security and social coherence, aimed at regaining full control over national territories contested by armed groups for years. The second is governance reforms, intended to modernize how the state itself operates and make it more accountable. The third is the human capital development, focusing on education, health, and the citizen well-being. And the fourth is the expanded infrastructure, covering roads, energy, and industrial facilities needed to process raw materials domestically, rather than shipping them abroad unprocessed and buying them back at a markup. About 34.5% of the entire budget, tens of billions of dollars, is earmarked specifically for investment and capital transfers, signaling that this is not just about maintaining operations, it's about building new productive capacity that did not exist before. Perhaps the most striking element of this plan is not its size, it's how the government intends to pay for it. Roughly 2/3 of the total $64 billion is expected to come from purely domestic sources. That includes revenue generated by state-owned enterprises, expanded mining income now that key assets are under the government's control, and a genuinely novel mechanism known as citizen shareholding, where ordinary Burkinabe citizens are invited to directly invest their own savings in national projects and share in whatever returns those projects eventually generate. The finance minister Abubakar Nakanobu has been direct about the philosophy, stating that by using the country's own sovereign resources, Burkina Faso can sustainably transform its economy and improve the lives of its people, widely read as a point of departure from the previous era when the country leaned far more heavily on foreign loans. Even so, officials acknowledge that roughly 30% of the plan has a total cost that will still require outside financing, meaning this is not a complete rejection of international partnerships, but an attempt to rebalance the equation so domestic resources carry the majority of the weight for the first time in the country's modern history. The announcement of this ambitious number is one thing, delivering it is also another. The government is placing real emphasis on community involvement, encouraging citizens at the local level to help shape and monitor the projects affecting their own region, and for now their enthusiasm can be seen. This combination is meant to address the most common criticism of large-scale development plans across the continent, that ambitious announcements rarely translate into results people can see and feel, and the people of Burkina Faso are ready to make a difference. The numbers behind this plan's ambition are genuinely eye-catching. The International Monetary Fund currently projects medium-term growth at somewhere between 4.5% to 5% annually. The government is setting its sights considerably higher, targeting growth between 6 and 1/10 and 7 and 2/10% per year. If those targets are met, officials believe extreme poverty could fall to around 16% by 2030 in a nation where most of the population still depends on agriculture for its livelihood. The plan aims to weave that agricultural workforce together with new industrial value chain, particularly around processing raw materials like gold locally instead of exporting them in raw lower value form. This shift towards local processing is central to the vision that Burkina Faso should capture more of the value generated by its own natural resources rather than watching that value accrue elsewhere beyond the Burkinabe borders. If this plan succeeds, even partially, it could serve as a genuine template for other resource-rich nations, but historically underdeveloped across Africa. It offers a real-world test case for the idea that a country can fund the majority of its own transformation using its own natural resources, using its own natural wealth, state-owned enterprises, and direct citizen participation, rather than depending primarily on foreign lenders. This is a powerful and appealing narrative, sovereignty-driven development financed largely from within, aimed at lifting millions out of poverty on the country's own terms, and that is something African countries ought to do more often. Be bold and make bold decisions, because if you never try, you never know. A $64 billion bet has been placed on one of West Africa's most resilient and most tested nation on its own future, a bet that very few outside observers saw coming even a few short years ago. Whether this national development plan becomes a genuine turning point or falls short of its extraordinarily high ambition, that will likely become clearer over the next several years as spending begins to translate or fail to translate. And we are all a witness to the road development that's currently undergoing in Burkina Faso. School projects, hospitals, processing plants, and tangible improvements all developing before our very eyes. What is undeniable right now is the sheer scale of this ambition on display. We'll be following the story closely as it develops, tracking the milestones, the setbacks, and everything in between. If you found this breakdown valuable, kindly hit the like button. Subscribe to this channel for more in-depth coverage of major economic and political developments across Africa and the world. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you, and on to the next video. Be sure to check out this next video on other developments happening right here in the West African sub-region.